Good evening. My name is Wallace Bradley, and I'm the host of this show. I'm also the president of United Peace, Inc. We got a very interesting show. There's a lot of things that's happening. There's individuals that's no longer going to run for Congress. There's an individual and a friend of mine that is going to run for Congress. And there's the governor here that has made it a sanctuary, not just for immigrants, but for Houston, Texas state legislators that's coming here for sanctuary. And this show was put together by none other than the chairman of United Peace, Inc., and that is Dr. Terry Marsh Bradley. And hey, if you didn't know, now you know, I'm Reverend Dr. Gator. So without further ado, Amani, let's make it do what it do.
Congressman Danny Davis with his trademark cane greeting supporters on Chicago's West Side who came to witness the beginning of the changing of the guard in the congressional seat that Davis has held since 1997.
This would be a great time to try and usher in and help bring in new leadership.
With Vera, his wife of 55 years, standing by his side and surrounded by a host of supporters, Davis reflected on his career representing the West Side, first as the alderman of the 29th Ward, then later as a Cook County commissioner. He said he's stepping aside in part because of his age, he's 83, and also due to Congress being controlled by Republicans.
Being in the majority is a very different feeling than being in the minority.
So if you'd have been in the majority, you might have stayed?
I may have stayed.
Davis decried the current political climate.
The environment is rancid. It's different. Of course, I attribute much of that to the leadership of President Trump.
Davis part of a major changeover in Congress as he and Jan Schakowsky are retiring and Raja Krishnamurthy and Robin Kelly are giving up their House seats to run for the Senate.
This is really a wide open election, and it represents not only generational change, but it may represent political change. You're bringing in new people who've come up at a different time in politics.
Davis today formally endorsing longtime West Side State Representative LaShawn Ford to replace him.
This is a big deal. But the biggest deal of it all is that Congressman Davis has passed the torch, but told me you got to finish the race.
Ford will face a crowded field that includes former Cook County Commissioner Richard Boykin, City Treasurer Melissa Conyers-Irvin, businessman Jason Friedman, and Anthony Driver, the president of the Community Commission for Public Safety and Accountability, who's expected to join the race soon. Davis told me stepping away was a hard decision to make, and even harder, deciding who to endorse. Boykin was once his chief of staff, but Davis is all in with Ford and will serve as his campaign manager. The primary election is next March.
You know, people don't realize that the guys that Danny Davis had picked or made the decision to endorse is someone that he had been mentoring a long time. And like Ford says, he didn't even realize that that was a prolonged interview for him being endorsed something like 10 years later. So without further ado, that's the 7th Congressional District. Now we got something happening in the 2nd Congressional District. And people in the community, including myself, I happen to be on the exploratory committee, okay, with others that's trying to draft Jesse Jackson Jr. to be reelected to the 2nd Congressional District. As you know, his brother Jonathan, Congressman Jonathan Jackson, is the congressman for the 1st Congressional District. So, Sister Monty, let's hit this piece.
For a new potential congressional campaign. He represented the 2nd District for nearly 2 decades. He stepped down back in 2012 and a year later pleaded guilty to wire and mail fraud. He was sentenced to 30 months in prison, but was let out early, only spending about a year and a half behind bars. He has requested pardons from both former President Joe Biden and President Donald Trump.
We'll take a live look outside now. It is hot and humid today.
Let's go to the next one, Monty. There you go.
By talking to residents and certain community leaders, sources say that he was approached by some longtime supporters to give it another try. Run, Jesse, run. That is what supporters of Jesse Jackson Jr. are encouraging him to do. The former 2nd District Congressman is mulling over a bid for his old seat, one he held for 17 years before pleading guilty to a federal campaign finance violation that landed Jackson in prison.
He served his time, he paid his dues, and I think the time is right for him to re-enter Congress. There have been a lot of political changes since he was in Congress.
Indigo Media's Hermine Hartman is one of several people, including former Chicago Congressman Bobby Rush, who is pushing Jackson to run. His old seat is currently held by Congresswoman Robin Kelly. She is running for U.S. Senate, leaving the race wide open.
He knows how to cross the aisle. He knows how to be persuasive. He knows the rules of government.
Jackson was unavailable for interviews today. He says he's spending his time listening to residents in a district that includes urban, suburban, and rural areas. Despite his criminal past, political analyst Laura Washington predicts voters will give Jackson the benefit of the doubt.
I think this is a period in American history where people are very fond of thinking of redemption and thinking of people paying a price and then moving on to future success.
As the son of civil rights activist Jesse Jackson Sr., Washington says Jackson has the benefit of name recognition. His brother Jonathan easily won Illinois' 1st congressional district.
His brother was a shoo-in when he ran because of his name. He had no track record, or very little in the way of a political track record.
Illinois State Senator Robert Peters has already announced his candidacy for Kelly's seat, and while he would not answer the question directly about Jackson, Peters says he is the right person to fight against Donald Trump's policies.
Well, my hope is to represent the future moving forward when it comes to this district, and that's someone who has a track record of fighting for working people.
Besides Peters, there are at least 3 others running or weighing a bid for Illinois' 2nd congressional district. Jesse Jackson Jr. is likely to make a decision about his political future soon. On the South Side, Sarah Schulte, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
You know, the wonderful thing about this, people see and understand that Jesse Jackson Jr., had laid down a foundation for 17 plus years that he was congressman. He pushed for the airport. He got the grounds paid for and bought to put an airport there. And a lot of people within the 2nd Congressional District feel like he would be the right one to come and finish the job. And one of the things is, I understand his redemption. I, too, like I said on this show many a times, is a former felon. I've been blessed by God to be able to get a pardon after I served my time. He should have got a pardon. He served his time. Like he's failed and everybody else is saying, everybody else got a pardon from Biden's son or family, and with President giving the insurrectionists or the 1,600 people their pardon. And the wonderful thing about it, he got a right to run. It's like the president ran. And it's a plus for the 2nd Congressional District because everything comes through the delegation of the other congressmen, and they be pushing for everything to come to Chicago. He gonna speak for the Southland, to get development and all of that, proven track record. Everybody got a right to run. But hey, one thing for sure, if we do the three things that he said is required for him to run, getting 10,000 petitions signed, registering 5,000 new voters, and helping to raise the money for his campaign. It reminds me of something that Harold Washington said. Those were the three things Harold wanted in order for him to run for mayor. So without further ado, Sister Monty, let's get to the next piece.
Developing tonight, Texas Republicans have approved arrest warrants for the Democratic lawmakers hiding out in states like Illinois. They took off to block a redistricting plan they say favors Republicans. Tonight, our Jermont Terry heard from the delegation being put up by our governor here in Illinois. Jermont?
Joe, tonight, those Democrats from Texas insisting that they are not running, instead fighting for what's playing out not only in Texas, but what could also play out across the country. And tonight, with each state lawmaker having an arrest warrant hanging over their head, they plan to stay in Illinois for as long as it takes. These Texans, all Democrats, arrived by a private bus in Warrenville to the IBEW Union Hall. Inside, they stood in unity for their cause.
This isn't political theater.
The Texan state lawmakers refuse to show up for a special session because they say Governor Greg Abbott wants to change congressional maps to favor Republicans. And while redistricting isn't new, it's primarily done every 10 years after a U.S. census.
If they succeed in Texas, they will take this to other states.
Texas Attorney General called the Democrats' flight cowardly, adding they should be found, arrested, and brought back to the Capitol immediately.
We're not running from anything. We're trying to make sure that when democracy is in Texas, it is going to be of the people, by the people, and for the people.
And they have support of Illinois Democrats.
Stay as long as you want.
Governor Pritzker, who is the heir of the Hyatt Hotel, invited the Texas lawmakers to do just that, stay for the long haul, as these Texans are calling for Illinois and other blue states to redistrict congressional maps early to balance the seats Texas could lose.
We are going to match Donald Trump's energy when it comes to redistricting.
Illinois is legendary for it.
So says political analyst Pat Brady. He points out Illinois may not be in position to retaliate.
I don't think you can gerrymander them anymore. We have the most gerrymandered political map in the country right now.
This isn't the first time Democrats crossed into Illinois to stop a Republican-controlled state house. In 2011, 14 Wisconsin Democrats hid out in Rockford when then-Governor Scott Walker decided to stop collective bargaining for unions.
They're the ones that have warrants out for their arrest.
These Texans hiding in Illinois now have civil arrest warrants against them, but it does not seem to matter.
We say hell no, not on our watch.
Now, with those Democrats not in Texas, the State House did not have enough members for a quorum. It's a holdout. These Democrats say they're going to hold out for the entire special session, which is slated to last at least 2 weeks. Reporting live in Warrenville tonight, Jermont Terry, CBS News, Chicago. Joe?
Jermont, thank you.
You know, what's so important about this, and I'm going to say, they trying to get rid of Congresswoman Crockett. They're trying to get rid of Congresswoman Crockett in Houston and Al Green from Houston by trying to get rid of their congressional districts. And the thing about it, the other states, the red states, including Illinois, can do the same thing, especially in California. I'm just glad to see that everyone that's a Democrat that's realizing we got to work together across the board for everyone. I got one last piece I want to show you. Let's hit this, and then we out of here.
Somebody told me, "You gonna be alderman?" I said, "No, I can't be no alderman. I got a record, you know." And thank God I got a pardon from the governor in '98. Around the same time, Gator got his pardon. But then somebody, so I became alderman. The mayor calls me up. I didn't even work on his campaign. He said, "Hey man, I want to talk to you. I want you to be my vice mayor." I was like, "What?"
Okay.
So I don't know. I would say this. I would never say never. God been leading me this way. Wherever God leads me, that's why.
I totally get it.
I thank God for what I got now.
You know, that's my friend Walter Burnett. That brother went from being a felon to end up getting a pardon and becoming the vice mayor of the city of Chicago. He has retired, and he made it where his son will become the alderman of the 27th Ward, and his other son will become the 27th Ward committeeman. And I want to say I honor, love, appreciate, respect, and trust and salute Walter Burnett and his wife for being great parents, and his children from being obedient and learning, not knowing that someday they would be in this position. And he's from Cabrini Green, and he's gonna be over the Chicago Housing Authority. To God be the glory. That's our story. Vote, don't choke, and remember, pray, 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 pray.